connected to. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Best of Three, an esports podcast by Organized Gaming. I am Mike, as always, and I am today joined by Krispy Kim Donut himself. Alex Kim, how you doing, bud?
Good. Today was a long day, but I'm still somehow alive and awake.
I gotta say, I must have woken up not an hour ago for
Ooh.
this. I'm just like, okay, well, what year is this? I need to get up and go.
Yeah.
Because today we are doing something a little bit different. We're trying something a little bit new. This podcast is right now being streamed live. Is that right?
We're back. We're
We're
back with the
back.
lives.
Exactly. We are back with the lives, and we're really excited about that because we're not only are we going live, but we're also not having a guest this time. Today it's just myself and Alex, where we don't get the chance too often to sit down and just have a conversation between the two of us. So I'm actually excited to just kind of pick your brain about stuff without having to worry about all the pleasantries that you have to be around people that you don't hang out with on a daily basis.
Yeah. I mean, we don't really hang out on a daily basis. Well, I guess no one's really hanging out on a
No one's
daily
really
basis
hanging out on a
anymore.
daily basis. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is really cool. I think we'll get to into I don't know, go deeper on us. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Kind of how
So I'm excited
things
for that.
impact us and how, the world around us has changed, not so much focusing on the world around a third party. Um, yeah, some of the things we're going to be talking about today, we're going to focus a little bit on the thing that's been on everybody's minds for the past little while, and that would be the stonks. The stonks have been just, oh, we like the stock, is what everybody is saying. Uh,
Which one is it?
which one? Oh, all of them.
Yeah.
But we'll be talking
Oh, okay.
specifically about GME, GameStop, because that's our thing, right? We like that really impacts esports, and it impacts it in a pretty interesting way, and we want to really delve into that. We're also going to be talking about what's going on in 2021, esports wise, and I want to kind of get into what you guys have planned because there's a lot that you do over at Waves that I'm sure you guys want to talk about as well. Um, and then, as much as we're talking about going into 2021, we also want to talk about how we're leaving 2020 behind. So, I want to kind of get into some of the esports tournaments, give a nice little pour one out for my homies, and talk about some of the tournaments that were left behind in 2020. And then after the break, we'll talk a little bit more about Activision, a little bit about uh, streaming just in general, because that's something that's been on my mind a lot lately. Um, and on that note, Alex, I need to show you something that I just got recently. I just got myself one of these Stream Deck XLs.
The big
The
boys.
big boys. Yes. I know you guys
Nice.
have a lot of those over at Waves, so you're probably very familiar with this, but to me this is my baby now.
Oh yeah. And honestly, surprisingly, they're not cheap either. So
No. it's an investment.
definitely an investment. I mean, you're like, hey, it's a box with some buttons on it, like, you
Yeah.
know, but super valuable stuff for streamers. You can build an entire show on it, right?
Oh,
Maybe no.
absolutely. Yeah. You
Yeah.
can build like multiple screen shows on that. I wish that this segment were sponsored by Elgato. Please do reach out to Mike at organizedgaming.co if you would like to partner with me, because I would happily partner with Elgato. I don't know about you. Uh,
Well, I gotta say, Waves is already working with Elgato and Corsair,
well,
right?
there you
So
go.
maybe, yeah, maybe we
Maybe
look to
get me on the horn there.
So
Include
okay,
me on
just
some of the phone calls.
just real quick. Do you know how the next generation, the young Gen Z, holds a phone to their face? It's not this.
Oh,
They
okay.
do
So
this.
not with the thumb and the pinky up. They do what?
No. They do this because now phones look like this. They don't look like this anymore.
Oh my goodness. What?
Is that not the weirdest thing?
I guess so. Right? You have to like That's not even a good way of
No,
holding a
but
phone to your face. You're just like
no, it's not
pressing it up.
holding it. It's acting like it is the
Yeah,
phone.
yeah,
Your hand
yeah.
is the phone, and yeah.
Wow. Wow. So like we're not talking into our pinkies anymore. We're talking into the like bottom of the palm.
Yep, that's
That's
what it is.
gross. That's gross. Youth of today. Now I'm going to go to old man about this. I'm going to be
Ask
the
some
old
kids.
man.
Ask some kids. You'll see.
Get off my lawn and start
Tell them
using your
to
pinky as a receiver, please. Or
tell
as
them to
the
hold a phone up to their face, like as if they're talking on the
like
phone.
a
They will
normal
do this.
person.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh no, this does not bode well for our generation.
Sorry, that was just a random tangent there, talking a little bit about the past and the future. I guess it ties in a little bit, but
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, speaking of the past and the future, let's just kind of get right into it, huh? So we're talking about GameStop today. GameStop. Specifically GME. For those of you who have been living under a rock and haven't seen anything on, say, Reddit or the news or, the sky in some cases, there are people who are like flying around in planes holding like big signs on the
no
back saying
way.
buy GME. Yes. Oh, yes. um, for those of you
Okay.
who have been blissfully unaware, the fine people of Reddit, specifically Wall Street Bets, have taken a strong hatred to hedge fund managers and, have kind of staged a coordinated attack on GME in a good way, where they bought up all their stock and raised up the price of that stock. And so everybody's looking at that and they're like, we like the stock, so we're buying it. And they're all diamond hands because they don't want to let go and they're trying to bring GME to the moon. Those are the sentences that have come out of the past 2 weeks.
Amount of times that I've read anything to the moon,
Yeah.
this past week is just
Diamond hands is my particular favorite. I'm trying to like incorporate that into my daily vocabulary. Just like,
okay.
yeah, man, I'm trying to be real diamond hands about it.
Yeah,
We don't have room for no paper hands right now.
yeah.
You
Just
know,
diamond.
just diamond hands all the way. So, the like, it's been an ongoing thing, and Robinhood got involved in that. They stopped being the like lead in stock purchasing things because they just stopped allowing people to buy their certain stocks on their platform. So GME went down, and BlackBerry and all the other ones that Reddit was going crazy over.
There's some
Which,
irony in there somewhere with the naming, but yeah.
there's quite a bit of irony, exactly. But anyway, so all of that happened, and slowly Robinhood is starting to open up buying again for these kind of things. Like I know Dogecoin, they just reopened today. So there is that. But it kind of left a question in my mind of what does this mean for esports? Because GameStop has been actually like going pretty hard recently on what they've been planning for towards esports. They've been looking to increase their sales through competitive gaming. They started doing that in 2019. And
So what sort of stuff did they do in 2019? They were looking to start that, or had started it, hadn't?
yeah, no, they there was an article that I read the other day, entitled "How a Company Looking to Focus on Esports Became 2021's Biggest Financial Market Upset," and it was talking about GME, specifically the stock.
Right.
So in 2019, and I'll just read it from the thing here. I'm just gonna pull that up. Yeah. So by making that swap over to like a more competitive and a more retro scene in like 2019, year over year between March 2019 and March 2020, they were able to increase their sales by 519% for digital sales. Yeah.
Okay.
Then, of course, COVID hit. And the next quarter after that, they reported a 34% decrease in sales. So people immediately were like, yeah, no, we done with games. We're not playing those right now.
Right.
We're just trying to live. So it admittedly has been a very bad year for them. And then with this whole GME thing, it like infused money into the business that like got people able to focus a little bit more on, focus a little bit less on trying to keep the business alive and more on like,
Growing, trying to
growing.
be growing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Surviving through this and seeing what you'll do afterward. So, I mean, like the question that I wanted to ask to you is like, what do you think that GameStop can do with like all of this extra time that they've been bought? Like, what is it that a retail game company can do to bring themselves back into the esports space, or back into the competitive gaming space, or back into the gaming space at
Back
all?
back into yeah. Honestly, I don't believe that. I think they just got, a little bit of extra time. They
Yeah,
were they were handed, a gift, the gift of time, but that time's gonna run out.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't see them being able to turn this into, anything more than really what it is, which is just they got a cash infusion. Some people are gonna lose some money, a lot of money, um, and they're gonna burn through that. And it might be a year from now, it might be a couple years from now, but like
Yeah,
they're going under, man.
absolutely. And I mean,
Retail brick and mortar, it's not gonna survive.
I mean, in one way or another, for sure. The stores maybe won't, but the names behind them, I think GameStop has like the opportunity to really like pivot hard into its digital sales. Um,
Which
make
I actually, yeah, I didn't, and you were mentioning that their digital sales had increased by so much. I didn't even
yeah,
know that they were so heavy into digital sales.
definitely,
So
absolutely. Well, I mean, you got to get these games from somewhere,
yeah, but you got Steam, you got Origin, you got BattleNet, you got just wherever, like PlayStation, Microsoft, Xbox, like wherever, right?
Yeah, I
So
mean, and that's the big threat too. Is like all of these like platforms already have ways of buying games off of their individual platforms. Like you can buy Xbox games on Xbox Live. You can, or not Xbox Live. You can buy Xbox games online. You can buy PlayStation games on the PlayStation Store. You can buy Nintendo games on Nintendo's eShop. Like there's just places already. So why even go to a game retailer anymore?
and that's how I feel, honestly, when I hear that you have to line up to get a game. It just doesn't make sense
But that's
anymore
the
to me. Yeah,
experience,
the
though.
experience is there, yes, but if
Yeah.
you're talking about making money,
Mm-hmm.
it's an experience for sure. You'll get that experience, but how many more games can you sell online
Yeah.
than in person?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're not just talking games, there's also merch, right? Like you can
Right.
buy a lot more than just games off of GameStop, or any kind of game retailer. I feel like it took me a little bit of mental gymnastics right now to be like, oh wait, no, they're not just selling games. They're selling games and game paraphernalia. They're talking about games. Their theme
They're
is
actually
games.
one of my, favorite like retailers, like brick and mortar retailers to go get gifts for people, right? So,
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huge point right there. So I mean, will it will it die? I don't know. Um,
I think they missed the window on esports.
you think so?
Yes, I think there was a point in time where they had a ton of retail locations where they could have held sort of competitive gaming events or sort of get their name more into the space, but with the pandemic and everything, by the time it all shakes out, I
Mm-hmm.
just don't see that they're going to be able to get there.
Ooh, that's tough though. Like, yeah, before 2019, if they had like 1 year before just been like, all right, we're gonna start sponsoring teams, we're gonna start creating teams or doing whatever, getting into esports, uh, would have been such an easy line to draw.
Oh, definitely. And
Yeah,
they didn't draw
they
it.
didn't draw it.
Yeah, that's a missed
They just
opportunity
didn't
if I've
draw it.
ever seen it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So 2021 might not be the year that we see GameStop in our tournaments. However, they've got a lot of cash infusion right now. So, if they're not paying off debt,
Well,
then
so I'm gonna add one more thing in there, and I think this is gonna tie into some of what else we're gonna talk about. But I think consoles, they might be sort of dying out.
what?
Yeah, in the competitive gaming sphere, at least. If you look
Mm,
at competitive gaming and esports, there's just so much more you can do with the PC. You get so much more power out of it. And just at a competitive level, at a professional level, you want a PC. You don't want a PS4. So in a competitive setting, in an esports setting, I just see that PC is going to dominate more and more. And GameStop doesn't doesn't sell PCs. They don't do PCs. So.
right.
Mm.
Huh. So how far are we jumping ahead if I ask you to give examples here?
I'm gonna refer this is a pretty outrageous statement, but Ben Pfefferman,
Yeah.
CEO Amuka Esports, mentioned on one of our other shows, Esports Unfiltered.
Yeah.
He was saying that he thinks the PS5 is going to be the last PlayStation, so they will
Oh
ride this
wow.
out
Mm-hmm.
and they will, you'll get some updates and whatever it is, but in 4 or 5 years time from now, like that's his claim. I don't know if that's true, but or going to be true, but it's a bold statement.
I feel like that just might be the COVID fatigue talking though. Like we're all stuck at home and PCs are all of our best friends anyway. Like we're doing the video conferences on that and most of us are gaming on that right now. But I feel like people who get together and play games together, that's what's feeding the console market. And so with that element of life just kind of gone right now, uh, what is a
So I
console?
I want to clarify. I meant in esports, the competitive
I
game.
understand that. I
Yeah, yeah,
understand
okay,
that.
okay, yeah, yeah.
But I mean that there's no way for people to enjoy the game on console. And so there's no way for people to practice the game. And if you can't, play it recreationally, then why would you play it professionally on the same console? People who practice their esport on computer are still able to on PC to go and play with other people recreationally. So I think it's that fun aspect that's missing from a lot of people's lives right now. Like Smash, ooh man, I want to talk about Smash next week.
When's the last time you played?
When's
I just
ooh
curious.
when was the last time I went to Waves?
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah. So a long time ago. It's
yeah.
like a year or whatever. And I want to say same with me. I lie. I've been going through the adventure mode,
Mm-hmm.
because my Switch, I had to send it in for warranty, and they wiped everything. I lost all my
Wow.
Smash characters. I lost my Animal Crossing island, like everything.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So it was pretty sad, but I had to unlock it. So I've been playing the single player mode, just to get the characters unlocked and everything.
Wow.
But barring that, I have not really thought about Smash. I play with people in person. I don't play this online. I
Mm-hmm.
don't, so yeah.
I think for most of us, it's like, yeah, we were all the recreational console players. I think they still exist, but they're like, well, I wanna be social with my friends, so I'm gonna play Among Us, or I'm gonna play, this, that, or the other on PC, where they can just readily just be like, all right, go friendships.
And probably sitting there anyways.
Mm-hmm. But tell the people out there right now who are screaming at their podcast providers, being like, "Oh, talk about Nintendo, talk about they're replacing their multiplayer server." That's coming. We're gonna talk about that next week because that's some really recent news that I'm really excited about. Have you heard about that? No, I couldn't hear what you just said there. So,
I haven't.
oh man, they're doing something about the netcode finally.
Oh,
Let's just say that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
all right, all right. We'll get into that more
We will.
next week.
Absolutely. Until then, we're talking a little bit about what's going on in 2021 as well. So, uh, Alex, tell me about what do we have to look forward to this year?
Honestly, I'm pretty optimistic.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty well. Okay, so I think what we're going to see a lot more. A lot of the tournaments in 2020, they just took place online.
Hmm.
and you had like this super saturation of like Warzone tournaments and like Fortnite tournament, like any whatever it is, like that anybody can run, even fighting game tournaments, whatever it may be. Just
Hmm.
all of them were online, and I kind of got tired of that. There was League of Legends Worlds though. They held the tournament in person.
Yeah, they kind
Uh,
of like they just kept it going.
yeah, like
They're like, we're
no
not going to let
crowd,
this stop
no
anyone. It's fine.
audience, but
Yeah.
yeah. And they still kept it going. So I'm hopeful that a lot of esports will move to LAN without audiences, at
Really.
least.
Well, a lot of
Yes, I'm
sports are
hopeful.
just doing that in general, right?
Exactly.
Like they
So
they want to
I
keep
think
the
we're there.
yeah, they want to keep it going. And so either it's we cancel the whole thing or we, just remove the audience portion of it, which sucks. But a lot of the audience for esports was online in the first place anyway.
Exactly. Now you're not going to get like the same sort of crowd
Marina.
reactions and like the sort of the feeling, the same
Okay.
maybe like the
I'll
full
be
feeling,
there
but
in a bit.
it'll be pretty close. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing more of that. I'm tired
Yeah.
of people's bedrooms. Hey, Mike.
I mean, I mean, as we're doing that, my daughter comes in and she's like, "I just want to be on video right now," and that's the life that I live in right now. Hey,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
So some big tournaments that will take place on LAN. You got for CS:GO, there's no Valve major announced.
Hmm.
So I think IEM is the next biggest like world championship CS:GO
Okay.
tournament that's going to take place at LAN. That's a $1 million tournament. So that one should be good. A lot of top teams going there, and you'll see finally some mixing of the regions, right?
Hmm.
Because with online, it's like ping's an issue. So if you're stuck online, you got to play in your own server, and not all the teams can play against each other, right? So
Right.
I'm looking forward to seeing more sort of different types of matches rather than sort of the same ones over and over throughout the tournaments.
Hmm.
Yeah. We got season 3 of Overwatch League. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Why?
well,
Why?
okay,
Why is it a thing? How about tell me that one? Because I'm a little surprised that
so the Overwatch League
Overwatch League
obviously is
is
going to
continuing.
go ahead.
Yeah.
They had a lot of issues in 2020, and their viewership declined heavily.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, so it was tough for the Overwatch League, but the most interesting thing that I read and something that I would be excited to watch for is Dallas Fuel.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, so Dallas Fuel, what they did was pretty much acquire the entire core team of Paris Eternal.
Yeah. My team
um,
now. Yeah.
so I mean, they for a team that should be really good, they were just doing really badly.
Yeah.
So Dallas Fuel. So what they did was they acquired the coach from Paris Eternal.
Hmm.
And before he had entered the Overwatch League, he was actually on a team called Elemental Mystic. So this is
Okay.
a Korean, sort of mainly Overwatch team, South Korean team, and they had like a whole bunch of people on their roster, and pretty much they all went into the Overwatch League.
Hmm.
So they all sort of split up and went off into the Overwatch League. Now, what um, he's doing is he's assembling the greatest. It's the Avengers of Elemental Mystic.
Cool.
So
Cool.
he's bringing everyone back.
So he's
Um,
being the Nick Fury here, just being like, we got to get the band back together.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think the funniest part is the assistant coach on Dallas Fuel is also from
An
Elemental
Avenger.
Mystic.
Oh wow.
So it's
Wow.
just yeah. And like it's a super stacked roster, honestly. So it's like I think they're gonna crush it, and I think it could make for sort of an exciting season where we see some switch ups instead of San Francisco Shock just rolling everyone again, right? So
Right. Right.
yeah,
And I mean, I'm looking right now. Element Mystic is pretty big.
yeah,
Total earnings over $350,000 USD. That's
they're a
pretty
good team.
impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So and the Koreans know how to play Overwatch. So looking forward to that. I mean, and a lot of changes to Call of Duty for season 2, which maybe we can get into after the break, where
Hmm.
we talk more about that. League of Legends Worlds also going to be exciting for 2021.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to be LAN again. They did it in 2020. Why wouldn't they do it in 2021?
Hmm.
But the LCS is they just launched a rebrand. So,
Yeah.
which it's like a fresh, modern, new, whatever. But
The
I think
entire
that
platform, the entire league platform, game, and esport is going through a massive rebrand right now. So
oh yeah.
that'll be
So I
interesting for
know we
2021.
we talked about like the League of Legends esports sort of
Yeah.
rebrand that happened previously, and they've just slowly been going through and rebranding all of their regional leagues.
Hmm.
Um, but I think yeah, with this rebrand and with some of the like crazy shuffles that happened, so you obviously the big one, Double Lift retired, right?
Yeah.
So that was big, but you had Perks from G2 move over to C9 and Reckless move over to Fnatic, and just some big changes there. So the LCS, the NA they did not make it out of the groups for Worlds last year.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, right.
I'm hoping that this rebrand with some of these roster shuffles and things will really light a fire under their ass, and we will see, a much better performance from NA this year. I'm
Yeah.
hoping,
Yeah.
based on what we talked about previously about the development of, sort of the development structure of NA.
Hmm.
Might not see that, but I'm hoping that just the fire will be enough.
Well, I mean, that raises the question for me. Like, is the reason that all these NA teams, if it, is the reason that they weren't performing very well a timing issue? Did they not have the proper amount of practice? Are they just built different? Like, what is the secret sauce that makes all of the other regions so much better than NA in specifically League of Legends? Like, I just want to know what the difference is. Like, it's the bar is obviously much lower in NA just on the regular world ladder, but once you get into practice mode, like that shouldn't really matter. That shouldn't really make a difference. You're practicing against people from anywhere at that point.
If you look at like across other esports too, I think NA doesn't perform
Yeah, we
as well
we
as they should.
underperform a lot. Yeah,
Like yeah, and that's got to be an a esports sort of theme. You know what I mean? I don't think it's related specifically to League of Legends.
right.
I think it's sort of across the board, and that points me to the development structure.
Okay. Okay. So what about the development structure?
It's so with let's use South Korea for example,
Yeah.
right? They've been in esports for they I think I was in Korea in like early 2000 or something, and I saw StarCraft on TV.
Yeah.
So
It's been in their
it's been
blood.
there.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's in their blood. And through that they've started developing, oh, you can play sort of at a high school level or like a collegiate level, or and they've been they got a head start on the rest of the world, right? So
Yeah.
they with that head start, they've already started to build out a more proper structure, and I think that really leads to a higher skill ceiling in the end
Mm.
because of the young age at which these players peak, right? So
Right.
you got to start them young.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Interesting, because like I feel like there's much like what we were talking about earlier with GME. There's a lot of like interest factor is big. Um, Whereas it's kind of ingrained in the society, for places outside of North America to like follow this one game and follow it for years. North America has always been more of the like follow the trend, like what game is popular right now, what's something that's pulling my attention, and how can I get distracted by that. So I'm curious if that kind of bleeds into the org structure or the way that things are trying to be developed, because everyone's always chasing that next bag of like, how am I going to be the best team? And by always chasing, you're never actually going to be there because you're not focusing on what's making your team great in the moment.
Interesting.
I think that might be my take on it. I think I might have just stumbled onto my take, because that's 100% our issue, is we get distracted too easily. We don't drill down and only play certain games and only focus on certain things and like try and knock out kinks as early as they happen. We just try to play. Huh.
I think that might be leaking over to the sort of, that mentality might be leaking over to other countries, though. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
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 So as time goes, maybe
we're also the loudest about it.
Maybe we bring them down to our level, and then that's how we get even.
We're doing it. We're doing it. Hello.
Oh man.
Okay. So you know what? Let's take a short break, and then when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about the CDL. I want to go talk a little bit about 2020. Take a little bit of a look back, and then let's educate the people a little bit on streaming tactics, because you know what? I've been watching some people these days, and they're playing. So I want to up their game a little bit. Okay. So we'll do all that and more when we come back from the break in just a sec. Okay. And we're on the break. Welcome, YouTube. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
So what's up?
I don't know. I just feel tired.
Yeah.
Like starting to hit me.
Yeah.
I feel it in my face.
No, I got to get like right back into it, because my daughter's going to go to sleep soon, and I need to actually like help.
Oh.
Be a dad. That kind of thing. But I see Laura here for all the insider information. Welcome. You're here to get it. You're gonna get it.
I was gonna try to drop a little joke there, but I didn't. Hi Laura, how's it going?
Cool. All right, let's get back. Here we go.
All right.
And we're back. Welcome back to Best of 3, where it's just me and Alex. Good to see everybody.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back.
Yeah. Now, before the break, we were talking about how we were going to leave 2020 in the dust. 2020 is done. So we're going to do one more quick little retrospective. Just look at some of the things that 2020 had that just were, gone. But first, Alex, tell me a little bit about how the beginning of your year's been.
The beginning of my year? Oh, man. Well, I want to say I had a very, very sort of relaxing and uneventful holiday.
Okay.
Sort of the end of last year. And then I think just sort of that like slow moving, like I'm on vacation, and like some of the rust and stuff like that just carried on through the beginning of the year. But I'm back in it now, and I'm like happy to be, a little bit sharper in February.
Yeah, do you feel like that? Yeah, I've been.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on that train too. Like January, it was a bit of a slow start. Like trying to make that mental transition of like, okay, that was the year's fault. Everything that was bad in 2020, that was 2020's fault. I'm gonna change out of that. And then 2021 happened, and it's like, oh no, that was my fault. So January 2021 was like okay, let's refocus. Let's see what we're gonna, change for the next, 11 months of the year.
I feel like I sort of skipped January, and like February is my January.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it went.
Like February 1st, I went out for a run. I'm like, okay, this is the
What
year.
are my New Year's resolutions like a month later?
Exactly. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go into. I want to talk a little bit about some esports events that were disrupted by COVID, because you know what, it's important to remember that we did lose out on a lot of experiences this year, and like even some that we would just normally frequent, Alex and I, that we just didn't get to go to this year. Like Personally, I remember Get on My Level. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh, that's just
Gommel is the best.
yeah,
It's the Smash community is the most hype, the most exciting, just all of that. It's a great energetic place to be. Yeah, it's just I miss all of that.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like even with just some like pro series that you normally would get to watch, like the Capcom Pro Tour was postponed, but
Abysmal.
yeah,
I mean, netcode, we're gonna bring that up again, but
yeah,
just for a lot of fighting games, you're not gonna have an online tournament
no,
or a competitive online tournament.
yeah, yeah. Because Capcom, well, they also decided to scrap all of their live Street Fighter Five events, which made me very sad because I was like just at the time starting to get into Street Fighter Five. I was like, okay, maybe I should
Oh
like
yeah.
try and pick Street Fighter back up. Maybe I'll watch some pro uh, tournaments, and then no, didn't happen.
It's okay. Street Fighter 6 is coming out
But yeah,
the sometime ish, so yeah.
it
You're gonna be
eventually
fine.
will come out.
Yeah, eventually it will. So I think it got postponed for another year or two or something due to the it being in the Olympics.
Hmm.
I believe that's what it is. So yeah. Um, yeah, unfortunate for that. I mean,
Yeah.
if we're talking about big RIPs to events last year, I gotta pour one out for the international
Oh
TI.
no. Yeah.
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 How they raised almost what like almost $40 million and the tournament didn't even happen. Man,
Yeah.
that was real sad.
That was so depressing. Um, Especially like having gone to a physical event, right? Like we went to the
Yeah,
one in Vancouver. Shanghai was it Shanghai was that was going to be the next one, or that was the next
Sweden.
one? Sweden.
Sweden.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
man.
So that was awesome. We were actually planning a trip over to Sweden potentially, and that
Mm-hmm.
fell through. The entire DPC season fell through. I'm
Evo.
surprised. Yeah, Evo. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Evo. Man, what else?
Well, there are all
Just
the conventions that we go to. You know, Fan Expo,
EGLX.
EGLX. Oh,
Oh, Adrenaline happened online this year too, which okay, I'm not knocking
PAX.
these online convention.
No.
Like I'm not like they gotta still live their lives,
Yeah.
but it's yeah.
There. Well, it's like it's a bitter taste. It's like I appreciate them for what they're doing, but also like it reminds me of how like we're not in that space, right? Like we're not ready to go back and be around all these people. So it kind of like stands as a reminder of where we currently are. So it's a little sad, but hey, more power to them. They're trying to keep it alive, and I fully support that. Yeah. Tokyo Game Show I'm seeing here on a list. There's a full list of just like COVID-19 esports that were canceled.
Really.
Yeah, esports canceled by COVID-19, I should say. So like East Coast Throwdown 2020 is on this list. Summer Game Fest is on this list. Tokyo Game
Yeah.
Show, Ubisoft Forward, ESL One Birmingham. Uh, there's an Arena of Valor World Cup was a thing
Oh.
until it wasn't.
Oh,
And Bandai Namco World Tour. That's
right.
yeah.
Yeah, and man, we were hoping to get some stops for Toronto too, and it just didn't happen.
I
So,
was hoping to get so many stops for Toronto. I was going to go to the Pokemon regionals, man. Like, I had my friend who was
oh.
going to come in from New Jersey, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to stay at your place for a week. And this was like March 20th. And then and then everybody got sent home, and there's this big drum roll as to like, is the Pokemon event still going to happen? And then no, it didn't happen. Like 3 days before it was supposed to happen, he had like his days booked off and all. He was going to like drive over. Just no.
Okay, so let's ask this question. I want to
Yeah.
ask you, Mike.
Mm.
Would you approve of, okay, so let's say New Zealand is seeing like 0 new cases daily.
Yeah.
Would you think it's okay to host an esports event in New Zealand?
Yes.
So
Absolutely. Full stop.
yeah, like in places like that, and I read also that Gavin, is, yeah, I don't know how feasible this is, but that he was thinking about moving the entire company of Valve to New Zealand, where he is right now, and quarantining,
Okay.
and he wanted to move the international to New Zealand as well.
um, I mean, that's a little dangerous, but sure, I guess.
Based on what I read, he had sort of put out some feelers, and
Yeah.
some employees were down.
I think it's less on the employees and more on New Zealand. Like at a certain point, you're going to need to clear this with I guess health officials in New Zealand. Just be like, hey, I want to bring my entire company and also all these esports teams who are going to compete over to your country, and we're going to run a tournament and a business out of here. Is that cool? Like, and the immediate
um,
answer is going to be probably not.
you don't know that when there's money involved.
That's true.
Mm.
That's
Mhm, mhm.
true.
What will that do for New Zealand? What will that bring in for New Zealand?
What would it do for New Zealand if Steam ran out of there? What would it do for any country that wasn't like big, like mega corporate America if a Steam or a Microsoft or a anything like just moved there and had their home office there?
Headquartered.
Headquarters, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I do know is that New Zealand has some pretty low tax rates, so might be enticing for
Oh,
companies. So yeah,
I see. All right, all right. So there's
there's things at
reasons here.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I get it. All right. Well, let's close the book. Hey, you know what? 2020's over. We don't have to talk about it ever again. It's done.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye. Um,
Hello, February 2021.
hello, February 2021. Now, you mentioned a little bit earlier about uh, the OWL and CDL. Let's talk a little bit about Activision. Tell me what's been going on in that space.
Uh, right. So let me ask you this, Mike.
Okay.
When you think of Call of Duty, do you think of Call of Duty the game or Warzone?
Oh wow. Well, me being the old that I am, I think of Call of Duty as Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, but uh,
Okay.
I know right now that most people are talking just Warzone.
Warzone is eating Call of Duty, man.
What?
Warzone is just gonna eat it.
Oh,
It's Yeah,
um,
so if you look at sort of Modern Warfare, right?
yeah.
Warzone is the main game inside of Modern Warfare, not Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh,
So they've made that switch, right? Because the new game is out and everything. So I guess on the old one, they're just like, hey, let's switch that over, whatever it is. Um,
do you think that
and
like the name Call of Duty is diluted there? Are more people just calling it Warzone now?
I think so.
Do you think
Honestly,
like
it's not.
where
I
Call of Duty's gonna they're gonna drop Call of Duty and just call it Warzone?
No,
No,
they're two
they
different
can't do
games,
that.
man. They're two different games.
Mm.
Can't.
You think they're
But
gonna separate the games?
I think at a certain point, Warzone is the only thing. Not the only thing. Warzone is going to fuel and keep fueling Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So I don't think separating it would be the best idea. But at the same time, you're looking at like hundreds of gig file sizes, so that's not
Mm.
fun either. Um, Maybe they will. Yeah, and you're just seeing Warzone taking over Call of Duty, and I think that it's it's unfortunate. But the CDL still has to continue growing.
Right.
So they're making the switch. They're modernizing, getting with the times, and moving to PC. As I mentioned, console in esports is kind of dying. It's
Mm-hmm.
not it's not optimal to be on there. So they're moving to PC, and they're gonna force the competitors to still use controllers.
Oh,
So
how's that gonna work though? Like
so
the controllers, we vaguely had kind of a conversation about this earlier, but with the controllers, aren't they using like PlayStation controllers? Like, is PlayStation given the okay with that?
I don't believe that they're in partnership with PlayStation anymore. I think they were
Oh,
last year, but with that agreement done, I think they can just move over to whatever they want to use, right? So
interesting. Okay.
uh, I it's a weird thing because if they allowed keyboard and mouse, it would completely destroy the competitive sort of setting of Call of Duty. You'd have
Yeah.
some players who don't want to switch over, some players who will immediately switch over and crush the other guys, and so you can't really just be like, hey, everyone's using keyboard and mouse now either. So it's
Yeah,
kind
I
of a
mean, you've
rough
kind of
place to
cemented
be.
your audience as the ones that use the uh controllers, right? So
Exactly.
you can't. But how's that affecting the CDL though, Warzone? Is that like do you think that's harming it at all? Is it supporting?
And that's where I'm a little bit torn, right? I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a lot of players just play Warzone, and I think a lot of players who used to play regular Call of Duty now just play Warzone.
See, there's that distraction right there. Warzone
Exactly.
is the distraction pulling away people from the CDL.
But it could go the other way too. A lot of
Mm.
players who didn't play Call of Duty might get into Warzone and then be like, "Hey, let's play some traditional Call of Duty," and then maybe get into the competitive scene there.
Well, that's so funny because that's like that's the same thing that, and the fact that this is Activision is hilarious because that the closest parallel that I'm drawing here is like Dota is to Warcraft as Warzone is to Call of Duty. It's a game
Yeah.
that wasn't originally in the main lexicon, but now completely overshadows the one of them anyway. Dota completely overshadows the Warcraft 3 player base. Now, obviously, Warcraft 3 is hashtag dead game, but you know, I see the same kind of thing happening. More people
It's
started
interesting.
playing Dota, and then the people who did Dota broke off and made Dota 2. Um,
But where
they
it's
never worked
different,
for Blizzard though. Like this
yes.
is their
Okay.
own proprietary product, Warzone.
Yes, yes.
I get
So,
that.
but like, I think the
Mm-hmm.
difference is that they're still updating the game. Warcraft, there's no Warcraft 4, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So if there was a Warcraft 4 with Dota in it also, maybe it could have whatever.
Yeah,
Um, but
RTS
I
games are also just like gone.
I don't think it's really going the other way. I don't think Warzone players are jumping onto COD as much as Call of Duty players are just jumping onto Warzone. Um, so
Hmm.
I think there's going to be a bleed there, but the CDL again, there's a lot of exciting things happening. Like the LA Optic has changed over to the LA Thieves, right?
Okay.
And then you had the Chicago Huntsman rebrand to Optic Chicago with Hex getting the Optic brand back.
Oh, cool.
So he had sold it to it was formerly the LA Optic, right? So they were formerly in LA and owned there, and then it was sold back, and then he brought it to Chicago. So
Mm-hmm.
you see that, but you're gonna see some more rivalry, I think, with some of the classic OG sort of like Call of Duty, the people that were around in that era, right? And then
Yes.
you're gonna see some of this rivalry, and I think that's gonna be exciting. So hopefully more viewership there to drive towards Call of Duty.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully. I mean, I want to see Call of Duty succeed. I think it's one of those like it's a shooter that is like cemented as an esport. Like I think of all of the shooters that are out there, you've got your popular ones like Fortnite. I don't consider Fortnite uh, much of an esport. I think people treat it as one, but it's not. It it's just not going through the motions of it. It's not really, you know, doing it in the way that I respect it to. I think the Call of
and
Duty is the one that like has really put out the effort into creating the right organizations and the right following and
100%.
yeah
They've been a real esport for
yeah
much longer than, yeah, something like Fortnite, which you're right, I wouldn't consider it a true esport.
mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. And I mean Apex is great. Apex is still growing. Um,
of an Apex right now.
so there's that as well. What other shoot? Like, I'm trying to rack my brain right now. Like what other shooters are out there that are popular esports.
Well, you still have PUBG
Oh
up
yeah.
there. Yeah, like PUBG is still doing amazingly. Obviously, if you get into the mobile versions of all these games, there's mobile versions as well. Yeah, I would say those are probably the most popular
Yeah.
competitive type. Oh, Valorant,
Oh yeah,
obviously.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How did we miss that one?
Yeah. Well, that one's getting the attention from the streamers.
Yes,
That
yes,
one
it
has
is.
major streaming attention right now.
Well, and the competitive scene too is starting to get bigger. And it's you. What I love about Valorant is seeing some more co-ed teams. That's
Ah,
what I love about Valorant. It's just really cool to see. You have C9 White, which is C9's female Valorant roster,
yeah,
and they're taking some big wins off of some real big orgs, right? And they're not just a sort of vanity team that they threw together to for PR, and I'm so happy to see that. Um,
interesting.
yeah, and then Evil Geniuses has a co-ed roster, so it's not an all-female roster, but it's a co-ed roster, and they're looking really good as well. So I think like Riot is doing something right there where they're fostering sort of that kind of community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and again, you're seeing it in the entertainment side as well, just where men and women and all kinds of people are now getting into it and just like it feels like a more inclusive space for everybody. Um, yeah. So I mean, I'm impressed by what Valorant is doing just for the community. Um, to be determined, TBD on if it emerges as a successful esport, because it also kind of came out and gained popularity during a time that everybody was at home and not really going places. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll see how that kind of traction continues. But hey, great start, great start.
Hey, you couldn't ask for a better one. So
Yeah, absolutely. Did you want to talk a little bit more about Overwatch or
what I want to do is get to our tips and tricks segment.
good? Good. Me too. I don't want to talk about Overwatch. Because listen, I've been, man,
I'm trying to get excited for it again. To be honest, I've been looking into it, and like I think that they might make a comeback and they might turn it around and viewership might go up.
I
So
want to
like
see it happen. I want to
yeah.
see it happen. Absolutely. But the the push isn't going to come from me. Push is going to come from them. Uh, but listen, like man, I have been on TikTok trying to, you know, get myself used to the new times that we're in, where people have these newfangled social media channels and get off my lawn. And almost every third video that I see, because of course the algorithm is attuned to what I like, is somebody who starts a video going streamer tip, and then going into some random thing that isn't is more or less inconsequential for your stream. And it made me think, like, man, I'm not a huge fan of all of the streamer tips that people are trying to give these days. Like,
Let's do it right.
let's
Forget those guys.
but I don't want to join them is the thing. I'm not looking to join them. I think that the way to do it is more like just to speak from experience. Like, I want us to speak to what we know and what we do, and just kind of let people pick it up through osmosis, right? Like,
Okay, so let's start real basic
yes,
then. Okay, so like if you're gonna stream,
okay,
you gotta figure out where you're gonna stream.
correct,
Right? Yeah,
correct. And
so
there is like very very valid arguments for the different platforms right now. Each of them could be something that actually propels you, right? Like Twitch, personally, I don't feel like Twitch is a great platform for new streamers.
not a good platform for
No.
new streamers. And I have an answer, sort of a reason why in my head, but Mike, tell me why that is.
For me, I feel like Twitch is a platform where established people can grow their audience like tenfold. I think that anybody who has a following on whatever other platform that they were on can go onto Twitch, get about a good 30 to 50 viewers, and have that sit on the recommended page, and that is what's going to bring in the masses. But you need that like stronghold first, and it's entirely possible to sit on Twitch from zero and just over time through good content and through entertaining streams pull people in and keep them in. That's all well and good, but that is also involving a lot of luck, and it's getting harder every day because there are more people streaming. There are more people who are trying to make it big on Twitch. There are more people who are just kind of doing it for the sake of doing it. So there's a lot of noise on that platform right now.
Okay, so would you then recommend, hey, I got 0 followers everywhere and I want to be a Twitch streamer. So would you recommend that they go onto a different platform, grow their following, and move it over to Twitch?
100%. Yes. I think that if you were to go on to, say, YouTube or Twitter, to name a couple, or Facebook even, and just start posting videos there. Don't even worry about going live yet. Just get yourself an audience. Get yourself a group of people who enjoy watching you, while not like devoting all of your time to making sure that you're ready at this specific time. Just like, take your time with it. Right? Post your videos, get your following, get some momentum going. And then when you say, okay, now I want to commit to a schedule, like a hard and fast schedule every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every single day, if that's what you want to do. That's not something that you have to do, by the way. If that's something that you want to do, then you can go ahead and transition into that. But that should always be like phase 2. If you're already in a position where you can go straight into phase 2, wonderful.
Okay, so we got a phase 2 platform with Twitch.
Yes, in some cases. If that's where you want your content to live, then great. If that's where you want to stream, then great. I would recommend looking into YouTube, looking into Facebook, because those are also very viable places to stream, kind of depending on what game you play as well. If you're playing one of the like more mainstream games like Valorant or Fortnite or League of Legends even, Twitch has a really good community for that. A lot of people who are like a very big appetite for that kind of game. YouTube also has that kind of appetite for that kind of game. It also has less people streaming onto it for those kind of games. So, I think it's a little bit easier to, have an audience recommended to you because there's so much back end that you can do as well with it, right? Like you can put in a lot of tags and a lot of, important SEO and like your description and whatnot.
Right.
To get your video searched, because people are always searching on YouTube for that kind of thing.
Discoverability.
Yeah.
Keyword.
Discoverability is huge on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think it's
all about discoverability, actually. It's a search engine. It's literally a video search engine. So
you want to put your stuff on a search engine. Like back in the .com bubble, I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast probably won't remember that one, but in the .com bubble, everybody wanted their website as the like top 10 searches on Google when you search a certain word. And so they were spending a lot of money on Google ad spend, Google AdSense, and all of that kind of stuff to Google Ads to get their website or whatever they're selling or whatever they're, giving as a service on the front page of YouTube, on the front page of Google. You have the opportunity to do that same kind of thing on YouTube.
Interesting.
Facebook gaming as well. Facebook gaming is growing, and it's categorizing its games in a very interesting way that's focusing a lot more on discoverability as well. And so,
Yeah,
you know
tell
what?
us about yeah.
I wouldn't discount that because there are a lot of people who are very, very popular
What
on Facebook.
Okay, so yeah, I know we talked to Nick Cool back a
Yes.
little bit, and we talked to him about Facebook gaming there. Sort of where's the platform at right now? Has it changed since then, or what do you think?
Hasn't changed all that much. It definitely feels like a more scrappy version of the other streaming platforms, but like for that reason, you can like create such a tight knit audience of people who are like themselves on that platform, right? Like you're interacting with other people using their Facebook accounts. So like it's no Still Just Mike, it's no Crispy Kim, it's like Alex Kim, it's Michael Bussa. Like we're talking to these people, and everybody like there's no hidden
More of
pretense
a
there.
more of
Yeah,
a personal connection on
exactly.
Facebook, and that makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
Sorry, I'm gonna bring up one more thing.
yeah,
It's I know we talked about mobile gaming on Facebook being so huge because Facebook is sort of a mobile app, right?
very mobile friendly. Yeah.
So, yeah, is that still the case? If you're playing a mobile game, would you recommend going straight to Facebook or?
Hey, you know what? I hadn't considered that, but yeah, I would agree with that. I
Yeah,
would think that that makes a lot of sense. If you're uh point sure. I would say go to Facebook because I
backtracking.
wouldn't say to go to. I'm not going to backtrack here, but I wouldn't say go to Twitch or YouTube with your mobile game. So Twitch is probably Facebook is probably the one that you want to go to, um,
By default
by
because the other
default.
ones aren't it,
Yes, yes.
right?
Unless it's mobile only, in which case I guess YouTube. Because like, what's a mobile only game?
So
Like
like
Wild
Mobile
Rift.
Legends, Wild Rift,
Yeah,
sure.
Mobile Legends, Wild Rift, those kind of things. Like I feel like those have a very good space on YouTube because I don't know. Like that's the vibe I get. Like it's very focused on skill. It's very focused on uh yeah. I feel like skill is a YouTube and a Facebook thing, and I feel like entertainment is Twitch first and then YouTube.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're right, and Twitch is getting less and less gamey all the time, and more general entertainment.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Hmm. But that's a good point. I'm gonna have to really think about that mobile question for next week. But anyway, this has been
Awesome.
that was a fun little conversation.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was actually. I hope you guys pick some stuff up from there, and if you're trying to figure out where to stream, apply those tips. Sort of
Yeah,
think about it first and see where you want to go.
absolutely. And I think with that, we're gonna call this episode of Best of Three an episode. Uh, Alex, it's been cool just kind of like sitting and talking with you for a little while.
It's a little bit different, and
Yeah,
yeah, I think this is a lot of fun. I'm
I
glad
like
that
it.
we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Crispy Kim. That's Crispy with a K, Kim with a K. You can find me on Instagram at Crispy Kim Donut.
Man, I need to tweet more. You can find me on Twitter at Still Just Mike, where I feel like I haven't tweeted in like 10
Hey man,
years.
I tagged you in something and you never
I know
responded.
I saw it on my phone. I read it. I read through the entire thing. People were commenting on it. It was like that tweet was popping. Oh man, I need to be a little less bad about Twitter. Anyway, focus on that. You can follow the podcast anywhere you get your podcast at Best of Three, a competitive esports podcast by Organized Gaming. That's us. Um, yeah, cool. This has been fun. We'll see everybody next week. I hope you have a good one. Bye.